Coach, you ready?
Yep.
I'll let them in now.
Heard a huge echo from you.
Okay, thank you all for joining us. We will be recording this and sending it out. Just as a reminder, this is being live streamed. We'll now open up with a statement from Coach.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you all. Thank you for coming. Look forward to answering your questions. First, I'll start off with a couple of injuries. Jonathan McGill and Salim Turner Muhammad will miss a good chunk of the season. We'll see if they're able to make it back by the end of the year. We're counting on Michael Wilson at some point being able to rejoin the team on the field. We'll see if that's hopefully some point before midseason, but we're kind of leaving that gray until he's able to come back. Secondly, on the quarterback front, I'm not going to announce a starter right now. I will say that we will play both quarterbacks in this game. Both guys have handled the situations very well. Both guys have practiced well. By both, I mean Jack West and Tanner McKee. I will announce the starter later in the week. We'll see. But I'm not, as many of you know, I don't like to play games. I don't need to keep anything from the opposing team. I don't make decisions with the opposing team in mind. So once we know who's going to start, then we'll say that. I won't talk about how they'll rotate, but they will rotate. Both guys will play in this first game, and we'll see how it goes from there. As far as the 9 o'clock kickoff time for our bodies, still not a fan of it. Still think it's ridiculous. But we did something between last night and today where kind of had the run through last night and then early morning practice to kind of mimic what's going to happen Friday, Saturday. That's the only thing that we're going to do differently. The rest of the time, just counting on our guys getting as much rest as they can. They're not in school right now, so it's all about practicing, having our meetings, and then taking care of their bodies. And we'll be able to do a quick get up and go on Saturday once they felt what that felt like today. We feel good about the rest of the things that we're doing. I'm not going to go overboard, do anything more than that. We'll come in on Friday, get our run through at the stadium, get some rest, and get up and go. Ready for questions.
As a reminder, to please use the raise hand function when you'd like to ask a question. I will call on you individually. So we can start with that. We'll start off with Troy Clarity first. Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, Coach, first of all, your overall thoughts on Kansas State and some things they might be able to bring to the table against you guys.
Well, that's the exciting part about game one in college football. No preseason. You have some film last year. You have some things that you anticipate them doing. But for us, what we do offensively, I think helps our defense where, right, we'll be in 22 personnel, we'll be in 12 personnel, we'll be in 21 personnel, we'll be in 5 wides. So our defense gets a chance to experience all of those different things. We'll go tempo. So there's a lot of different things we do on offense that helps our defense. And then conversely, our defense. So we've got a lot of reps against a 3-man line, a 4-man line, the old bear front, against cover zero blitzes. So we really tax each other through training camp so that whatever we see week one, it shouldn't be that much of a shock to our guys, knowing that, people do make adjustments. I know this coaching staff is extremely good. They've always been a very good, we call them a game plan outfit, which is a compliment, right? Because they're able to show some looks one game and then come back the next game and show you something different. So we don't know what their game plan for us is going to be, and we won't know until we get into the game. So for us, having as broad a game plan as possible, all the while keeping it simple for our guys, is our best course of action.
Next, we'll go to Adam Rittenberger.
Hi, David. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted to, I know you mentioned the start time not being ideal, but how important are these games for Pac-12 teams going east, whether it's you guys this week, Oregon and Washington in a couple of weeks, just to win and obviously help the conference's perception by beating teams from other power conferences?
I guess they're important because everybody keeps telling us they're important. I don't necessarily think that way. We want to win every game we play, regardless of who it is. We're not out to impress anybody except ourselves. So I think when you think too much that way, now you're trying to win for other reasons other than just trying to win the game. So we're not trying to impress the playoff committee. We're not trying to impress the East Coast media. We're not playing that game. We think we have a really good football team, and we're going to try and go out there and show it and hopefully find a way to win in the end.
Next, we'll go to Ben Parker. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, Coach. Sorry for the interruption there. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Houston Heimele. He was named as a captain. Just talk about what he's brought to the program and what you think he's done to kind of earn that honor. Yeah,
Houston has just been a steady rock for us. A few years ago, when we had a lot of injuries, we couldn't be what we wanted to be, which is a real balanced offense between run and pass. We couldn't be the physical running team, so we were spreading teams out a bunch, and there was not a lot for him, and I felt terrible for him. But since starting again last year, us being able to change personnels like we do, play in our regular 21 or 22 personnel and get big. Now he's had a big stake in it, and he's one of those guys that is just the energizer. It's positive energy every single day. He loves the game. He loves his teammates. And typical Houston, he was kind of surprised that he was voted as a captain. He got the majority of the votes because of who he is every day. And that says a lot about what he brings to our team. You don't see a lot of fullbacks voted as captain. You'll see a lot of fullbacks as guys' favorite players on the team. But because of his passion, because of his energy, because of his leadership, that's the way our team looks at him.
Next, we'll be going to Dave Kiefer.
Yeah, Coach, what gets you most excited about this football team this year?
That's a hard question. There are a lot of things I'm nervous about too, but as far as me being excited, I'm excited to see all the guys that have been injured that are finally healthy, from Jordan Fox to Jacob Mangum-Farrar to Ricky Miezan. And you guys don't know really who these guys are, but we've been excited to see these guys play. Tristan Sinclair missed all last year. Great to see him back running around there. I'm excited to see this group of running backs. I think Austin Jones has had an outstanding camp. I think he's had an outstanding offseason. Nathaniel Pete has had a great offseason. Our young backs, between EJ and Casey, have really come to play. Not to mention our receiving core, our tight ends, having a healthy offensive line again. And we look like a Stanford offensive line when we walk out there. That's exciting. So much to be excited about, and really every level of each play. And we've got some exciting young specialists, kickers and punters that I think are really, really good. So I'm just excited for us to get out there to play a full season, because I really believe last year, I think we were just kind of turning into the team that we wanted to be. We weren't perfect yet, but we were playing really hard. A lot of things were coming together. So now I'm excited about having an entire arc with this group, the full 12-game slate, and see how good we can be.
Next, we'll go to Jane McCauley.
Thanks, Scott. Hi, David. Good morning. What would you say you've learned the most about this group? Having a full training camp and just the growth from guys who went through so much last year, and how has that sort of made you a better team going into this opener? And your linebacking crew seems like a pretty deep unit, but you've lost some guys to injury, but also gotten some guys back, and that seems like a pretty good core of leaders too.
Yeah, I'll start with your second question. The linebacking core, and we went from really having at any given time last year 3 healthy guys on the inside and 3 healthy guys on the outside. Now to be 2 and 3 deep in both those positions is just a great comfort, so that we're not kind of holding on, hoping everybody makes it through the game. Now we're saying, hey, let's rotate these guys. Let's play multiple guys. Let's keep them fresh. That's exciting. And I think what I've learned about this team, the captain's voting tells me pretty much the answer to your question, which is I think we had something like 35, 36 guys get votes in our captain's voting. That's a lot of guys that the team sees as leaders on this team. We have 4 captains right now, but we have more leaders than just the 4. That's so exciting for me, that we have a certain level of maturity on our team, that guys know how to practice, they know how to get themselves ready for practice. It's not just the coaches yelling at the young guys, it's the older guys grabbing the young guys and say, hey, do it like this. That's exciting, that we've built up depth on the team, that we're, knock on wood, relatively healthy, and that we have a lot of leadership. So I'm excited to get the season started.
David, along those lines, when you have so many guys who can be leaders and only a handful of captain spots, how do you find opportunities for those others who might have been right on the cusp of earning a captain job, but giving them those opportunities to shine as leaders as well, maybe in some different forums? Are there opportunities there?
Yeah, all the time. In the weight room, on the practice field, on game day. I have kind of 2 requirements for the team, and we talked about this my first team meeting after the winter, which was everybody's got 2 things they need to do. Sometimes they need to lead, sometimes they need to follow. Sometimes our leaders, sometimes our captains need to follow someone else. So you never know. Austin Jones wasn't voted a captain, but doggone it, he's a leader. He's a great leader. Michael Wilson was voted a captain, and he hasn't really practiced all training camp. So he's got to lead in a different way. So Ricky Miezon wasn't voted a captain, but he's a leader every day. So just being able to point to those guys, and those guys not feeling like they can't talk, which is exciting about today, right? Because we were early morning practice, not usual for us, just to get ready for the early morning game. And I heard a lot of different voices, right? Stephen Herron, along with Jordan Fox, getting guys ready. Like, hey, this is game time. Like, get your body ready, get your mind ready, and end up having a good practice, because so many guys took leadership roles. It wasn't the coaches yelling at everybody, it was the guys getting each other going. So I feel great about our depth. I feel great about our leadership.
Thank you. What time were you guys, I guess, walking out onto the field today?
Yeah, we practiced at 9, which
Okay.
is game time.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Kylan Mills. Go ahead, Kylan.
Hey, Coach. I'm just curious, after playing in empty stadiums last season, how much are you guys looking forward to playing in front of fans? And what are you expecting the environment to be like on Saturday?
It's one of those things we've all talked about. The white noise, the fake crowd noise that was in stadium after stadium, it just wasn't the same, especially when they turned it on and turned it back off again. But just to be in there with crowds, being there with people, this game was meant to be played in front of spectators, to get the reactions from a touchdown, a big hit, a 4th down conversion, that just adds energy to the players on the field, adds energy to the coaches. The environment is so important to college football. So I'm excited to have the fans back. I'm not sure what the environment's going to be. I would imagine the Kansas State faithful may outnumber the old Cardinal faithful, just by proximity. But I'm just excited to have people in the stands. And for anybody who's never been there, which is why we're going in on Friday, we're not completely doing the whole Hoosiers thing, but I want the guys to see the stadium. It's a sight to behold. And I'm excited to get in there on Friday, have the guys run around and get used to the big screen up top and the huge, it's just a huge stadium, 100,000 people. So it's going to be exciting. It's a great venue. I can't wait to get the season going.
We'll go back to Troy Clarity. Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, Coach, two things if I can. Number one, you mentioned throughout the course of last year that the defense maybe wasn't quite mature enough at times to hold on to some of the big leads, and that's why some of those games were a bit closer than perhaps you would have liked throughout the course of last year. How much better, or do you feel better about the defense's maturity in that department when it comes to perhaps, and hopefully you're in this position on Saturday and going forward as far as holding on to big leads?
Yeah, and I do think it was twofold. I do think defensively we slipped a little bit at the end of some of those games, but I also know offensively, 3 games for sure, 4 games actually, we had a chance to put them away. We didn't offensively. Cal, Washington, Oregon State, and obviously UCLA. Those were opportunities for the offense to go up by multiple scores in the fourth quarter, and we're not able to do that. UCLA were able, could have put the thing away at the beginning of the second half, and we weren't able to do that. So it's offense and defense working together, but I feel great, as I mentioned earlier, about the depth on our defensive side. I think Thomas Booker has got a chance to be one of the best defensive linemen in America. I think Dalen Wade-Perry's had his best offseason, his best training camp, where, as we talked about, we're deep in all 4 linebacker positions in our 34, as well as in our nickel packages. I think our secondaries had a great camp. We're going to miss Salim Turner Muhammad. We're going to miss Jonathan McGill. But Ethan Bonner has had his best training camp. Caillou Kelly, and he's going to try to stake his claim as one of the best corners in America this year as well. So we got a lot of guys that are excited about this, and it's not just being excited about jumping around, but being excited about it because they prepared and had a really good training camp, and look forward to getting the season started.
Second thing, and back to the quarterback thing for just a second here, West and McKee with different skill sets, it seems. When they're on the field, how can they imprint their respective skill sets into the offense and what we potentially see on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm not going to be overly specific there, but I will say this, that my mentality is not so much getting guys to run the system. My mentality is that our philosophy of playing should cater to the quarterbacks. So all of our quarterbacks, we always ask them their top plays, and we put those on the call sheet. So when a different guy's in, I know which plays to lean on based on what he has said, not necessarily just his skill set, but I'd love for a quarterback to get a play call and go, oh yeah, that's one that I wanted. That's one of my favorite plays. So the offense for me and standard West Coast philosophy bends and morphs into whatever benefits the quarterback. So it's the same system, but you may see different things from different guys, but we'll cater to their likes. We'll cater to what they've done well and performed well to in training camp.
Next, we'll go to Jackson Moore. Go ahead, Jackson.
Coach, you just touched on it with the cornerbacks and Salim. Is there someone or something that's got you encouraged about the safety group without McGill back there as well?
Yeah, I think our entire safety group has been really good. I mean, Noah Williams, the veteran back there, played really well last year. Many remember from a huge play against Oregon a couple years ago, knocked the ball out, which helped us win that game. He's been a steady performer for us throughout the years. But Williamson has had a great camp. He's a big, fast, physical safety back there, and excited for him to have his best year and prove him. And much like Caillou, these guys are on a mission to prove they're one of the better guys in the nation that play their position. So I'm excited for those guys to get out there and play.
Next, we'll go back to Dave Kiefer.
Just away from the football part for a second, what are your impressions of the new commissioner?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, George really started with a bang. We don't have we get a smart, bright group of coaches in this conference. A lot of experience, a lot of varied experience, and to have George, who's got no experience working on the campus level, let alone on the conference level, came in and pretty much won us all over in our initial meeting. He's dedicated to raising the profile of our conference, but more so for me, dedicated to doing what's right by our student athletes. And that's what we're supposed to do. So their opportunities on the field, their opportunities off the field, our team's opportunities through this alliance, through pushing towards our TV contract coming up in a couple of years. I'm very comfortable and even a little excited about where we're headed. There's a lot of murkiness, as we all know, coming right at us as we sift through the things that are coming our way. But I'm really excited about how we positioned ourselves. I'm really excited about the direction that we're going right now.
Next, go to Harold Govin. Go ahead, Harold.
Hi. The wide receiver room may have been the deepest on the team last year, but I guess without Simi and Connor and now Michael Wilson, how would you evaluate where things stand with the receiving core kind of going into the opener?
I think you've seen some guys step up in training camp. Bryson Tremaine and Elijah Higgins have really stepped up and had really great training camps. These guys are ready for prime time. We've had guys that were younger guys that maybe didn't play a whole lot, have really stepped into big roles so far this year. Hopefully we get Mike back sooner than later. But John and Bryce Farrell, the guys have been stepped up into important roles for us that'll rotate and play. We can play up to 5, maybe 6 receivers during the course of the game, just keeping guys fresh and rolling them through there with different responsibilities. But I think the room is really, really good right now, and lock and step with the quarterback. I think our combination of receivers and tight ends is fun. It's fun. It's a really good group. It's a group that supports each other, right? Somebody comes off the field, they're not pouting because they're not out there, because we know we're to roll guys through and put guys in position to hopefully help us win a game.
We have time for 2 more. First off,
Sorry, I just have one other follow-up. Sorry. I just couldn't let you go without another quarterback question. But I guess what did both Jack and Tanner show during training camp that kind of allowed them to earn playing time in the opener?
Proficiency. As I've said a couple times and multiple times over the year, I'm still a John Gruden disciple. And John was a disciple of the great one, and Bill Walsh. And being efficient with explosive capabilities is the name of the game. We got to get the ball out of our hands on time, got to throw the ball accurately. We got to make the big throws when they present themselves so we can be efficient, but then also explosive. But as important as anything for us, it's handling pre-snap and post-snap between the ears. It's a lot of things that we ask our quarterbacks to do. And both guys have shown the ability to do it. So that's as important to me as throwing the ball, but being able to be that field general and command the troops out there on the field and get us into the right plays and get us to the right protection and then get the ball to the right guy.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to Adam Rittenberg.
David, you noted this is going to be a Stanford-like offensive line. I'm wondering what that allows you to do that maybe you weren't able to do as much last year, or how just the things that we'll notice with that offensive line being on the field for you guys.
I think we were able to do it last year. It was really 2 years ago we weren't able to do it. We just had a bunch of freshmen out there that were trying to hold on. They were better pass protectors than they were run blockers. Last year, we were able to get into our big people packages, run the power play. We're able to pass protect better than we were the year before. So I think we played well on the offensive line last year, which allowed us to be on pace to have a 3,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, and 1,000-yard receiver. That's what we're on pace to do. Is because we were where we needed to be on the offensive line. And I just think now most of those guys now are juniors with a lot of playing experience. Had a really good camp. Miles Hinton is a sophomore. He's got a chance to be special. But he's still learning, he's still growing. But I feel great about, really being 6-7 deep on the offensive line. So yes, we're prepared for injuries at all times, but at the same time, we like to put the big guys out there. So it's not just, playing the 5 guys. I love being able to play 6, 7, maybe even 8 offensive linemen throughout the course of a game in our different personnel packages. So I'm just glad that, yes, the big guys up front, we're able to feel good about the 5 starters, but also be able to say, hey, we're gonna put guys in there, so more big guys get dirty during the course of the game.
Okay, we'll have time for one last one for Coach. That will be Kyle Kensing. Go ahead, Kyle.
Coach, you just mentioned Bill Walsh, and in the past when you've been asked about the spread and air raid and that sort of thing, you've cited guys like Mouse Davis and Marchant Broda's K-Gun. And how valuable is knowing the history of the game in terms of preparing for the future for you as a coach?
Yeah, and a lot of people draw a lot of lines, and there are some spread people that hate the word West Coast, or hate the term West Coast, and are, you know, offended by it. And there are some West Coast coaches that hate the spread. For me, they're not always philosophically different. It's about getting the ball out of your hands and being efficient. It's about using the pass game sometimes, like the running game, to get those 3 to 6 yard chunks, and playing the run off the pass together. Now, in the spread world, yeah, there are different rules and there are multiple different types of spread offenses. But I try not to draw the lines and like to make a big deal about different things, but I appreciate the West Coast offense, the system of thinking for the quarterback, the progressions, the footwork that ties to the reads. I do think that is one of the big differences. You know, the spread is a little bit more loose on the footwork of the quarterback, whereas in West Coast world, hey, we're a little bit harder on the quarterbacks as far as getting their feet right and the timing of the drops as opposed to the plays. So, I try not to make a big deal of it, but I think the West Coast system has really stood the test of time, and I'm excited about where we are now.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now turn to our player segment. First off, we will be starting with Austin Jones. Janie, do you want to go ahead and start us off?
Sure. Hi, Austin. Janie from Associated Press. Nice to see you. How much has this team grown through training camp and also just having the depth maybe at so many different spots that you guys didn't have a year ago that makes you, give some momentum going into this opener?
Oh yeah, we've grown a lot just mentally and physically just over this time. Having the last year where we were on the road a lot, it kind of forced us to come together and forced us to be closer as a team. So we've grown a lot in that aspect, and I think that kind of leads us to the play that we have on the field. We just made an emphasis that we got to finish teams off and just play harder and play more physical coming out of the third quarter. So that's been pretty big for us.
And you are hitting the road to a big venue. Is there some talk even for vaccinated players about being vigilant, with masks and just taking precautions? I mean, we're still in the midst of this thing, and you're going to Texas, and has David kind of talked to the group about that, or you guys talk to each other?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've always got to be vigilant because we know how this thing can kind of be and where it can go. So as far as just taking care of each other, taking care of the players, taking care of our teammates at all times. So that's just the biggest thing, especially when it comes to traveling and everything. So just we know what we have to do, so we just kind of continue to do what we need to.
Next, we'll go to Troy Clarity. Go ahead, Troy.
Hey, Austin, you really seemed to take some big strides last year as far as being a complete running back, pass protection, and being a receiver out of the backfield, along with your running skills as well. Given that, what are some things that you've worked on to improve on for this season?
I think for this season, I just kind of try to work on, again, my pass protection and making sure that I'm coming out of tackles a lot more. I feel like there's a lot of times last year where I would let dudes kind of take me down within the open field or stuff like that. So just kind of working on that. And then my short area quickness as well. Coach G's helped me a lot with that as well.
Go back to Janie.
Austin, we just got off with Coach Shaw, and he said both quarterbacks have earned a chance to play this weekend, and both are proficient and doing things efficiently. And what have you seen from both guys, and are both ready to lead as much as necessary, depending who gets more snaps or not?
Oh yeah, I think both are ready to lead. They've both been having a great camp. They've both been competing, going out there and having fun. And I mean, there's no animosity in between the two. I feel like they've both kind of taken each other, and they help each other within the competition. So I've just seen them both grow mentally and physically over this time. And I think it's been great to see them compete it out. And I can't wait to see who plays and let them do their thing. I think they both earned the opportunity to play. Absolutely.
Next, we'll go to Dave Kiefer.
Yeah, so awesome. Hey, so how does it change things that you've had an experienced offensive line this year and you have so much more experience? How does that affect where you guys are at this point together and what you know that they can do and what they know that you can do?
I think we have a lot of chemistry going into the season, just kind of playing with each other now for a good 2 years and having our kind of times where we were younger going up until now we're kind of the older dudes. So I think the chemistry is there, and I think we have a lot of trust going into every single game that we go into.
Next, we'll go to Ben Parker.
Yeah, kind of a random question here, but you're a Bishop O'Dowd Dragon, and they've produced a lot of really good athletes over the years. Ivan Rabb, Paris Austin. Just talk a little about how much pride you take in representing the Dragons on the field in a Cardinal uniform.
I take a lot of pride in it, just coming from that kind of background, having two dudes get drafted this past draft with Elijah Vera Tucker and Javon Holland. So it's pretty big, just going out there and representing and having fun with it.
And then kind of as a follow-up to the other kind of follow-up question that a little bit, AT&T Stadium, Dallas, Texas. Will this be your first time playing in a stadium of this magnitude? And if so, how excited are you for that kind of unique opportunity?
Yeah, this is the first time I'll play I play in the Alamo Dome, so I guess it's not as big as AT&T Stadium, obviously, but still, it's gonna be I'm very excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait to just get out there and play the game.
Okay, we'll go back to Dave Kiefer.
Yeah, hey, Austin. What are you most excited about being able to show from a personal standpoint and also from a team standpoint, the country that probably hasn't seen you guys play for a couple of years?
I'm just most excited about going out there and kind of just showing the country what kind of team we are and how we're gonna prove our mentality that Stanford comes out and we play tough, we play strong, and I think a lot of people kind of last year and years prior have we've gotten away from that, and they think that we're not what we used to be and we're not the old Stanford. So it's going to be very exciting to kind of just prove the doubters and show that we're back to the old Stanford way.
Do we have any more questions for Austin? Going once, going twice. All right, thank you very much, Austin.
Sure. Thank you.
We'll still be having Thomas Booker step up momentarily. If you could offer us some patience, we'll have him here.
What's going on?
All right, we're now joined by Thomas Booker. As a reminder, please use the raise hand function. We'll start off with Troy Clarity. Go ahead, Troy.
I can't hear.
Troy, you're on mute.
There we go. Modern technology is wonderful when you know how it works. Thomas, good to see you. Two things, if I can, at the start here. First, the road dog mentality that served you guys so well at the end of last season. How much of that could potentially carry into the first 3 weeks of the season, including this plane ride here to North Texas?
No, it's definitely going to carry over. Obviously, a little bit different because we'll be able to practice at Stanford kind of in between. But the idea of going, 3 straight weeks back to back to back in different places that aren't our home stadium is going to carry over for sure from last year. And it should, be a bit easier since we have better conditions in terms of COVID and all that. So, yeah, we're carrying that mentality with us year over year.
Second thing, can you give us a sneak preview of Tucker Fisk, who's been spending some time on the defensive line as well of late?
No, Tuck is a natural. I think his dad, if I'm not mistaken, played defensive line in the NFL. We actually see him on our tape sometimes when looking at NFL tape. It's pretty funny. But yeah, he definitely is kind of acclimated to the position very, very quickly. I think some of it has to do with the fact that he's obviously got a really, really great body type for it, very strong lower body, but also just the experience of being on a football team for now 5 years. He's not hesitant. He lays his hands there. He's got heavy hands. So I'm excited to see what he can do because he's been a really welcome addition to our room.
Next, we'll go to Ben Parker. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, Thomas, hope you're doing well. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, one of the things I've kind of noticed in talking to guys throughout camp is it seems like there's a bit of a chip on y'all's shoulder just in terms of, you guys are, I'm not sure if you guys really pay attention to the media polls, and you shouldn't care what we say, but you guys are picked 7 and 5 in the Pac-12 and picked 4th. And I think a lot of guys I've talked to think you guys can greatly exceed those expectations. So is that some of your senses, what kind of a chip on your shoulder and kind of an eagerness to kind of exceed expectations? And if so, just kind of touch on that.
To be honest, I wasn't really aware of the 7 and 5 or 4th in the Pac-12 thing until you just said it. I think for us, we have our own internal expectations of what our team should do. And I think that, we think we can run the table. So that's our expectation. So that's the only one that we're really concerned with exceeding. And because it's already set so high, we just want to play up to it. But yeah, we try to just keep everything internal here. The external validation, that sort of stuff is great when it's going your way, but just so easily it can kind of switch. So try to stay on your own even keel.
Next, we'll go to Harold Gutman. Go ahead, Harold.
Hi, Thomas. I have 2 questions. I guess first, have you started kind of preparing for Kansas State yet? And if so, what are your kind of initial impressions of their offense?
Yeah, no, we've definitely started preparing for them. Even during like our kind of training camp period, we were getting a little dosage of it. And they're a really talented team. They got a really, really good running back in number 22. And they got an offensive line that plays really well together. And they have a lot of varied sets, So we're excited for the challenge. We think it's a great way to open up the season. There's so many different blocks and stuff that we'll get that it'll be a great primer and test for us early in the year.
Thanks. And then my other question is just being on the other side of things. What have you seen from Jack West and Tanner McKee as far as what they both bring?
I probably wouldn't be the person to ask just because I'm a bit in the trenches. So you might want to ask one of the guys in secondary, one of our linebackers. But from what I've heard and what I've been told, it's a battle between both of them. Obviously, 2 really, really talented guys. Jack being a little bit more experienced, and Tanner being a bit younger, not necessarily in years, but in football experience, at least here. So I'm excited because I think whatever quarterback ends up going on the field on Saturday, we'll have won that position. And yeah, I'm excited. We got 2 guys that are really, really battling it out. So the final product should be pretty good.
Next, we'll go to Dave Kiefer.
Yeah, hey, Thomas over here. Hey, do you feel like just from a health standpoint and experience standpoint that you guys as a defense are in a far better place at this point than say you would have been at this point last year if it was a normal season? And how will that allow you to do more of the things that you guys want to do, assuming that, you'll perform better in certain areas, say against the run or whatever, and allow you guys to maybe be a little bit more versatile on defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think last year we had guys that were kind of moving out of position from outside linebacker to inside backer just because of the numbers that we had. And obviously, like whatever COVID things happen, people were coming in and out during practice weeks and all that. If there's a false positive, somebody would have to be out for a day or two. But yeah, I think a big thing for us is Ricky Miezon and Jacob Mangan-Farrar. Both of those guys being healthy and ready for week one is huge, just because it bolsters our linebacker corps so much. You know, we don't have to have like Gabe Reed, who normally is a outside linebacker, coming in and taking snaps at inside backer, so we can really just focus exclusively on that. And yeah, I think when you have more depth at all those positions, it allows you to be more stout, because, you know, you can have, all right, you got Jacob and Ricky coming in, then you have Tristan Sinclair and Levani Damuni, and you don't have a drop off. So guys can keep being fresh. So I think that it definitely is going to allow us to open up our playbook a little bit when it comes to defense, and just allow us to play a more physical brand of football for a more lengthy period of time, since we just have more bodies and more depth.
Next, go back to Ben Parker.
Yeah, Thomas, I also want to kind of get a sense for how you feel you're going to be kind of utilized both this week and maybe throughout the season. You're listed as a defensive end, but I've been told, but you take pride in being able to line up anywhere on the defensive line. So can we expect to see you used in a variety of ways, both inside and outside on that D line this year?
Absolutely. You can expect to see me used in 9 technique and third downs, 5 technique, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. All of it on both sides of the line as well. That's one of the things that we pride ourselves on here, is just being able to be versatile and be able to play in a nickel front or base front at either position. So yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of me in a lot of different spots.
We'll go back to Harold Gutman.
I know Coach Shaw made his kind of opinions on your early start time known, but I was just wondering, I guess you guys had an early start to practice today. What was that like? And do you think that will have any impact on the game on Saturday, having an early time?
I think we enjoyed it. If I'm not mistaken, it's probably one of the few, if the only time while I've been here that we've practiced that early. And I liked it, honestly. Obviously, a bit of it is part of like waking up a little bit. But once you get to that point, you know, it's kind of with your natural body clock as you're waking up. So you're super alert. You kind of haven't gone through the entire day, you know, going through meetings and all that. You're really just kind of locked in. So I liked it a lot. It was a good change of pace. So, you know, if anything, I think we'll be even more ready for what comes on Saturday.
We'll go back to Dave Kiefer.
Yeah, hey Thomas, just from a personal standpoint, how excited are you about this season and what you guys can show or prove as a group? Yeah,
I'm so excited about it, to be honest, just because we have so many more healthy bodies, and we're gonna have a full season with hopefully not as much obstruction from COVID protocols. Hopefully that happens. But yeah, I think we have a really great group as a whole. We have a fantastic running back room. We got a QB battle with 2 guys that could be starters, which is always a good thing to have talent in that aspect. And as a defense, I think we've gelled together really, really well. You know, guys that were sophomores last year that were playing are forced into playing time because of injuries or COVID stuff, are now experienced juniors, you know, and the same thing with the juniors to seniors. So yeah, I'm super excited about what we can put together as a full body of work over 12 games.
Do we have any last questions for Thomas? Going once, going twice. All right, thank you very much, Thomas.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.